Hello and welcome to another Union Arena Deck Tech. Today we've got Kyle here again to go over one of the more sinister and strategic purple decks in Jujutsu Kaisen, Mahito. This deck thrives on sacrifice synergy, trading small characters to generate value, disrupting the opponent's board, and create openings for big swings. Mahito's raid potential and his ability to sideline your own cards to sideline threats makes this list unique among purple options, offering a mix of control and tempo that's both deadly and demanding to play. So let's dive into the overall vibe of the deck. How would you describe Purple Mahito's identity?
Psychotic. Besides him being a maniac and crazy person, his deck actually follows suit in that personality. He doesn't care if his things die; they're just gonna come back ready to attack. The deck is a more aggressive style way of playing the deck, where it wants to smack your opponent in the face, hit him in the face, hit him in the face, hit him in the face as soon as possible, and you take advantage of that with cards like the 3-cost Mahito. And, comboing in with, Self-Embody of Perfection. But again, we also teched in something really nice, and that is the Ghetto 4-cost 2-action point. This is a hit or miss on people's play styles because this Ghetto is really good, and you can combo for days on what you want to do here, which is really nice. Which is good because you can use the Ghetto, and then you may play a sideline one character on your field and then activate main. If on the front line, you can only activate this ability if a character on your field has been sidelined for the turn. Your opponent sidelines one character on the field. This can hit energy lines. So what you could do if your opponent's still setting up, going, and it's their turn 3 and you've done the domain expansion and you're at 4 energy, you can slam this down, sack something in your energy line, and screw their whole day up.
Oh, yes. It is one of the more fun strategies to utilize. Fun for the person playing it.
Yeah. But again, that is only commit that if you are confident enough that you're going to be able to just keep them off their energy line for a turn or two. Because if they're fully set up and they're just going to bounce this boy to your hand, do not waste your action point turns on this thing. It's 2 action points. You yeet this card after that point. If they are live through the rest of the game, do not play Ghetto. Do not put them down. Don't collect $200. Don't go past go, please. You will lose if you're committing to Ghetto and it just keeps getting bounced back to hand.
All right. So what kind of player's mindset do you think this deck most rewards? What type of people do you think will be able to pilot a deck like this and really squeeze out the value within it?
Are you a Yu-Gi-Oh player? Is the first question.
I'm not.
Because you're going to be playing this place like a Yu-Gi-Oh deck. And that theory is that you're going to be playing your guys for free, unsuspended, making your opponent have a bad day. Because again, you don't care if this transfigured person dies. You don't care if this dude dies, because he's going to play this dude. After a certain point, you're going to be aggressive as heck, and then you use Self-Embody of Perfection with your Mahitos and just go to town there. Your goal is to smack your opponent in the face as soon as humanly possible. We play a higher count in 0s to 1 strats, because guess what? Your turn should be, if you have 1-0 and then basically you have 1s and a couple 0s, you're playing at a higher ratio than most decks, because again, you don't mind getting into these a little bit later, but if you can slam down like Junpei, being able to swing in and deal some damage, or Dagon to swing in some early damage, it's going to help chip away at your opponent in a good way.
All right. So running alongside with all of that, I see that there's a different card in here that has its own pseudo engine here. Can you go over the new raid Dagon? That's a card we haven't gotten to see yet.
So Dagon's very interesting. This is a new card that got introduced. As I've said before in life, I like cards that play for free. This deck likes playing its bodies for free. So what nice with the small little Dagon engine, what you can do is basically this is the one you're going to mostly raid on top of, because this is only a last resort, because you want to be sacking this one to your Mahito effects, because that draw card is such a good plus, and because you can just magically get cards back onto the field, it helps out. Trade off, Dagon that. But this one, basically, when attacking, place one card from your hand into the sideline. If you do, play up to one purple character with 2 or less energy from your sideline. Set it to resting on your field. When played abilities don't activate, but because our deck doesn't do when played, besides our raids, we're actually in a good spot to do it. A lot of ours are activate mains. So again, being able to play Junpei Abomination and just have them on the board, play this Mahito to set yourself up, it's not bad. Like, you get some great value, and the Dagon is just such a cool card, in my opinion, because I like playing things for free, and especially because it's when attacking. So you're always just fueling things just to set up, and, being able to go Dagon swing before you swing with your Mahito when you have a self-embody of perfection means that you can just, play a Dagon for draw. So then, self-embodied perfection, sack the Dagon, free draw. Why don't I just do? I enjoy drawing cards.
Yeah, draw card good. Draw card good.
Yeah.
Draw card good. I would like to point out one other thing about this Dagon card that I didn't notice until just now. There's no stipulation on the purple characters other than they cost 2 or less. You can be getting back Mahitos, Transfigured Person, or any of the other Curse Spirits. That is something that we haven't seen in these type of affinity style decks previously.
Yeah. This is not future-proofed, by the way. This card is not future-proofed. All they have to do is print something broken. Yes, it shuts off when played abilities, which is semi-future proofing.
Yeah.
But, Mahito in the front line, hit that life. Mahito comes out, says hi.
Yeah, very deadly setup. So, continuing right along, how about we go over some of the specifically the Mahito package and that new raid Mahito that came out. This card has a very unique effect since we're so used to so many removal cards, but this is the only one that says you have to sideline things when you do it. Can you go over how it plays in this deck and how the rest of the Mahito package kind of encapsulates it as well?
So, the new raid is a 5. So, means we're going to be having to make sure our energy line does its magical numbers, right? So you're going to be using this Mahito and this one. Again, super easy. But this card, you may sideline 2 characters on your field other than Mahito. Make sure you don't sideline a Mahito, but you cannot sideline characters with the same card name with this ability. So again, you need to be sidelining different cards, so it all leads into something nice. But when this ability sidelines 2 characters with this ability, draw 2 cards. So again, draw is good, draw is king. Yes. Then you do have, it does one other thing. Choose up to 1 character on your opponent's front line. It loses 4,000 DP until the end of turn. Whew. So, this is basically one of your best defensive raids. This is basically your opponent is not going to want to walk into it. If this is hidden security, this comes out and raids on any of your Mahitos. As long as you have, after you've done your little blocking and you've kept them on the board, sacrificing 2 that'll come back later, you don't care, because boy oh boy, they're coming back the next turn anyway for your abilities. So you lead into these great strategies that your opponent has to answer, and it's really fantastic. And I love that this Mahito kind of just kills something in exchange so that you can have some much needed draw value.
Oh yes. Now, speaking of, you kind of jumped on it a little bit, the Juni Yoshino card. This card, I originally in Volume 1 was sleeping on how good it actually is in a deck like this. Can you go over it and its synergy with the deck?
So, Junpei Yoshino Moondregs is basically a 1-card cantrip. So, if you have Mahito on the field, you may place the top card of your deck into the sideline. You're not really caring about that when played skill. It's its when sideline effect. If you have Mahito on the field, play up to 1 Junpei Yoshino Abomination from your hand from your sideline rested. So, again, this is where cycling comes in importance. This thing can block early enough and take that damage, and you could have a Junpei Abomination come up ready to come from your trash and make your opponent have a bad day. Or from your hand. You don't care where it comes from, right? Once one's in the trash, this Junpei can, this Junpei, I needed it for energy last turn. Well, I know I'm going to block with it. I'm going to play, Junpei into the energy line and get myself back into the right energy requirements. So that is super important because, again, him being able to soak up that little bit of damage is chef's kiss.
Oh, yeah. So it's a very nice little loop that you get to do that. Unless your opponent is impacting over top of you, it's going to be hard for them to break through the cycle of Dagon, Junpei, always getting you a little bits of value. So continuing on, you have a very unique tech in here, and that is the Boogie Woogies. That special doesn't say Mahito. Can you explain this for us?
Plain and simple. Does Boogie Woogie have a restriction? No.
Nope.
Does Boogie Woogie cost 4? No. Nope. Does Boogie Woogie just bottom deck any 5k on your opponent's front line, send it to the bottom of their deck, make them no longer have access to the card, and then basically your opponent gets to play a character with 3 or less energy requirement from their hand, set it to resting onto their front line when play abilities don't activate? I mean, you draw a card if you had Toto, but I mean, that's the only Toto requirement. So, I mean, nobody else really cares about drawing cards sometimes when the rest of our deck does that. You removing a threat off the board that is a 5k, sometimes it's just better to do that. Boogie Woogie just answers what your opponent is trying to do, and dealing with a 5k off the board rip is just super clutch. Now your opponent just now has to figure things out, and again, what's nice is you can combo this nicely too, because if it's not a 3k and they play something at 25, go into this Mahito. When played, choose up to 1 character on your opponent's front line. It loses 2,500 until the end of turn. Add up to 1 transfigured human affiliate or self-embodied of perfection card from your sideline to your hand. So basically you get your pieces back, right? Yeah. And then, activate main. If a character on the field has been sidelined this turn, which this won't activate, that's fine, but you'll kill something that's smaller. Activate main, sideline 1 character on your field other than Mahito. If you do, choose up to 1 character on the field with Cursed Spirits or Transfigured Human affiliate. It gains 1,000 DP until the end of the turn. So, guess what? Cursed Spirit, Cursed Spirit, Cursed Spirit. He's the only one not getting a boost, so yeah, cry in a river. Cursed Spirit or Transfigured Human affiliate. Gaining that 1,000 DP means now you hit magic numbers. Now, this Dagon. Oh, hi, Dagon. You're now a 4K. Swing.
Yeah.
Mahito, 2 of them. Side 1 other character other than Mahito. Sideline. And this one, by the way, doesn't say front line, boys and girls. So this says energy line, activate boosting. And we know when you can boost from the energy line and make your opponent have a bad day, you're really in for a good time.
Oh, yeah, that Mahito is quite a powerhouse as well. So there's one other card that we haven't really touched on quite yet, and that is the Color Trigger Mahito. This card, unfortunately, is great in both lines. Can you go over how its role is played in this deck?
So it is a 2 energy AP generator. That's all he's really doing in the energy line. It's when he's in the front line, he's bonker stupid. So, sideline 1 character on the field other than Mahito. So, again, can't hit your boy. You can't really do that. But when you don't care about the other people in your life, Mahito's just right there for you. If you do, you may place up to top 3 cards of your deck from your deck into the sideline. By the way, that is optional. You do not have to mill 3. So if you've milled enough and you're comfortably fine, do not deck yourself out.
Yes.
Play up to 1 character with Transfigure Human affiliate from your hand or sideline, set it to active on the field. So this is where comboing gets really nutty, because this is where you get Yu-Gi-Oh stats. So, you could do this. Switch to resting Transfigure Person. Minus a DP, sideline it. Have your Mahito on the front line. By the way, this doesn't have to be in the front line. This can be in your energy line to sack itself. So basically, you can sack your energy, play a body back, play the Transfigured Person back on the board. Really, really funny when your opponent's just like, well, I just lost my only blocker. Yeah, you did. Sack, sack, sack. Look, the boys are out to play. Swing, 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 swing. So again, it plays. If you were playing Sukuna without the impact shenanigans, this is basically if you were just focusing on just bouncing with Yuji Itadori. It's just remove the threat, and then you're going to deal like 4 to 5 damage in a turn.
So, looking at all of this, it seems like this deck has, well, more of a control element and a skill ceiling than many of the other decks out there. Do you feel like this has any particular matchups that it is going to absolutely prey upon? Or do you think that it's mostly even matched up and then has a few bad ones out there as well?
The problem with this deck is a lot of decks got faster. And I mean a lot of decks got faster. The deck definitely needs a third wave of support to kind of fix, like, give us something other than this Geto. Give us something that's going to control the board, not at 2 action point, please. Just do it at 1, please. I don't care about anything else it does. You don't even have to give it impact. Just make it so that we can have it in the energy line, being able to kill the energy line.
Oh, that would be a lot better card if it could be in the energy line. Yeah.
Yeah, but the deck is, if your deck has to set up in any capacity and you are spending a turn bouncing your shit to your hand, this deck preys upon you for that. Do not ever play a bounce card against this deck, because you are setting yourself back for this deck to prey upon you. Because yes, it's great to go to, going first. 0. Mahito, play 2 cards down. Well, I got a Dagon and a Mahito. Turn, they do the bounce shenanigans and play their 0 again. Well, you're at 3. Play this. We play 1 body. Domain expansion. Play the Mahito double energy generator boy right into Dagon. If for some reason you had lost a card in any transaction, Dagon's gonna just spit it out for a body. Now you're really falling behind because of how aggressive this deck plays. You can easily do a lot of things that lead into that kind of strategy, and even just getting into this Mahito. Even if you didn't do this Mahito, you went into this Mahito and just sacked one of your energy. As long as you can manipulate your energy, which you can because you are playing a higher 0-to-1 ratio than most decks, you're on a lower curve, and then you lead into your opponent just sad because now Dagon can just take advantage of that more comfortably. And, like I said, little Dagon boy being able to, when sideline, draw a card, he's going to just eat a block and just have a good time.
Oh, yeah. So, I think that about covers everything I want to go over in all of this. Thank you so much, Kyle, for joining us and taking us through this twisted world for Mahito. Kyle, let the viewers know where they can find your content and connect with you.
Just remember, don't let strangers touch you. That is rule 1. Rule 2, if he's got stitch marks all over them, stay 100 feet away. But you can find me in the description on my YouTube channel, where you don't have to be touched by me or by anybody on the internet, and you'll be safe from being transfigured into these mutant creatures. You can find me on YouTube with Unionversities in the description down below.
And of course, you can find me down in the description as well. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.